So when the Baltimore Ravens restructured Marlon Humphrey's deal, freeing up an extra $13 million, we expected that the Ravens would make some moves, probably during the weekend, something to help better this team. In my opinion, I thought that the Ravens were going to make a big move. I thought there was going to be a big splash with that amount of savings. Also, with the possibility of tomorrow being the day that Mark Andrews is due a $4 million roster bonus, I thought the Ravens were going to finagle some things and pull out all the stops to get maybe a Jair Alexander, a Micah Parsons, somebody of that ilk, somebody of that fame that could come in and directly affect this team as far as winning goes. But alas, we were wrong. For some reason, all of our hopes have been dashed. And that is not to say that the Ravens can't still make some moves later on down the line, but we just thought that immediately this money was going to be for something that was going to happen extremely soon.
Is that there are known knowns and that there are known unknowns, but there's also unknown unknowns, things we don't know that we don't know.
What?
But as of this weekend, the Ravens have made a couple of roster moves, possibly, hopefully strengthening this team, making it a lot better for this next season. And the first move being made was on Saturday. This is when the Ravens have re-signed offensive lineman guard Ben Cleveland. Now, this came to many as a surprise. To me, in my mind, during the offseason, I thought that it was a possibility. I wasn't really sure because I thought that there was going to be at least one team that was going to offer Ben Cleveland a contract and give him possibly a try just because of his massive size and strength.
Pause.
But apparently there were no suitors. So Ben Cleveland decided that, hey, I'm going to re-sign with Baltimore and take my chances there. Now, it's surprising on the Ravens end because of what John Harbaugh had to say.
If he'd earned the job at right guard, he'd be the starting right guard. You know, he didn't beat out Daniel or anybody. I think Ben's a good player. I like Ben. What year is he in? Third year? Fourth year?
And you would think that a head coach who does not like the practice habits of a player would not be one to jump in line and re-sign him. Maybe all of this was an EDC move and John Harbaugh had nothing to do with it. But to me, this is not a good sign, and not in the perspective of just the player itself, because Ben Cleveland, when he has been in games, he has had positive stats. He's made a few mistakes here and there, but overall he's been pretty solid, especially not given a chance to start regularly and work with the starting unit. He has played in 54 career games, starting 7 of them, and last season in 2024 was the season that he played the least amount of snaps throughout his career, where he only had 49. But myself, as everyone else, would have thought that everything that has been going on would have prevented the Ravens from re-signing him. First, it was the attitude or the lack of practice habits. Secondly, it would have been the DUI. Now, I thought the Ravens were a zero tolerance policy team, but apparently they are not. And me, I understand reading upon what happened with Ben Cleveland. It is not to excuse or justify his actions, but I can see with all the personal struggles that he's going with, why he may have looked to something else to kind of numb his pain.
I gotta fight every night to prove my love.
But that does not take away from the fact that he was driving 2 times over the limit in Georgia. And with this DUI arrest and failure to maintain his lane, you would have thought that the Ravens would have said, you know what, you just got in trouble. We didn't even let the offseason start to cool down a little bit, and they re-signed him. So to me, it has me thinking. You know me, my wheels start spinning. I start going into faraway places. I overthink things. And for me, this is just one of the reasons that I've had skepticism in Eric DeCosta. This is bringing back old memories and old feelings of this signing is going to be the reason that the Ravens going to use for justification to draft a safety or a corner in the first round. Not to say that they need an excuse, because they would have done it anyway, but this is what they're going to peddle to the fan base. I guarantee you, if Malachi Starks or Nick Emanwari is available when the Ravens pick, they are going to draft a safety. And they're going to say, listen, we're fine. We re-signed Ronnie Stanley. We have Voorhees as a backup, and Ben Cleveland's going to fight for a starting guard. Daniel Fa'alele is a Pro Bowl caliber right guard. So this is going to be justification to go ahead and get the player that they really want, not the player that this team needs, in my personal opinion. So this is why I'm a little bit skeptical, like, why now? Why sign him right after the reports of him doing bad? To me, this signifies to the rest of the team, hey, That zero tolerance policy is out the door. We can get in trouble and be fine with this organization as long as we serve a need. So, I mean, just personally, congratulations to Ben Cleveland for re-signing, being still in the NFL and collecting money, because I always love to see players get paid, regardless if it's 1 year or 5 years. I love to see them get their money. Hopefully he can come and contribute to the Ravens and not go through the same situations that he's gone through for the past 2 seasons. I hope he gets his life together. I hope everything is all right. But as far as a roster move or business-wise is concerned, I'm not happy with it, because this is just going to be another reason that the Ravens are going to use their first 3 picks on defense. Watch what I tell you. The first 3 picks, and people are going to say, we need the defense. We need a pass rusher. We need a corner. We need a third safety. Yeah, we also need a backup left tackle. We also need competition at guard, but I guess they're going to use Ben Cleveland as the guard center backup. I guess he's become the new Pat McCarry. So hopefully the Ravens come to their senses and actually do something to get some kind of depth on this offensive line. It's something that we have not truly had for a few years now. I know a lot of people said Pat McCarry could play up and down the line. He could not. He could fill in spots, but it was not really any kind of depth that the Ravens could use. That's why we went out and signed Juwan James. That's why we went out and got Alejandro Villanueva, because Pat McCarry wasn't that guy. And I hope that they don't think that Ben Cleveland is going to be that plug and play guy that if somebody goes down, hopefully he can get that starting spot. But if not, we need depth. And especially don't think with EDC's track record that he can wait to the 4th, 5th, and 6th rounds to try to finagle himself some kind of offensive lineman. But I thought we would pass this. This is the kind of Fugazi type moves that the Ravens are making right now. So just when you thought that the Ravens were done making moves for the weekend, this afternoon, the Ravens have signed quarterback Cooper Rush, formerly of the Dallas Cowboys. Many people are not happy with this signing. And it's not because that they don't think that Cooper Rush is a good backup quarterback. It's the money involved. Now, of course, 2025, you don't expect for backup quarterbacks to come in cheap, but to pay $12 million for 2 years with $4.5 million guaranteed for Cooper Rush, I'm not sure this was the proper move for the Baltimore Ravens to make. Understand that we don't have Josh Johnson anymore, and Dennis Leary, or Derek Leary, whatever you want to call him, is the 3rd string quarterback, and he is just not ready. But Cooper Rush, only to his name, has 14 starts. And that is a lot of money for someone that only has 14 starts throughout their career. Now, he has won 9 of those starts, but sometimes numbers can be misleading. Sometimes numbers are right on point. My whole thing is he decent? Yes, he can play football. But how is he going to perform in the Baltimore Ravens system? Especially with the Ravens having question marks at guard, both guards. We really don't know. He doesn't have the benefit of playing behind that Dallas Cowboys offensive line, because Dallas has had one of the better offensive lines for over a decade. He's not going to have that. He doesn't have the benefit of playing with a CeeDee Lamb type receiver that can bail him out. And throughout his career, he's played with CeeDee Lamb. He's played with Ezekiel Elliott when he was still okay. He's had Tony Pollard. He's had Amari Cooper. He's had Dalton Schultz. Now, not to say that the Ravens' weapons are bad, but there are sometimes levels to these receiver games. There are sometimes levels to these things, and Cooper Rush benefited from the fact that he had that, especially being that he was in an offensive system. I'm not saying he cannot come into Baltimore and do what he needs to do, but if Lamar Jackson is running for his life making plays, what is Cooper Rush going to do? What's going to happen when this line gets blown up and he has to make plays? Now, I'm not saying that this is for certain, because for me, Lamar is going to play. He's not going to be hurt. Cooper's going to come in when the season's winding down and the Ravens have locked everything up. But if we do need him for a 2 or 3 game stretch to win games, is he going to be able to do it behind this offensive line? I think that's the big question. He is 31 years old. He has 3,000 yards passing. He has 20 touchdowns. Yes, but he also has a career rating QBR of 40.5. And like I said, when you start dealing with having all of these weapons and your QBR is that low, when you get to a situation that's not as ideal, how is that going to work out? But for right now, I'm going to remain optimistic because, like I said, we honestly don't really believe that we're going to need him. We haven't really needed a backup quarterback for a couple seasons now, and let's hope to maintain that. And the first way that we can truly keep Lamar healthy is building up this offensive line. Yes, we've made small pieces and incrementally got better. Let's go into this first round and not forget that we need to draft a guard. We need to come out of here with some kind of backup tackle just in case somebody doesn't work out. Because if Rosengarten goes down, if Stanley goes down, we don't have a viable solution backing them up at this point. And yes, we did just grab a little bit of money, but we still have other needs on this team. We still have to fortify some spots on the defense, which may be filled during the draft, but we have to get a guard. We have to put somebody next to Ronnie Stanley with experience, someone that's going to help blow the defense off the ball. And I'm not saying that Andrew can't do it, and I'm not saying that he won't do it, but right now, I don't think that he's prepared or equipped to do these things. Last season was a starting point for him, and he only played in 4 games to start off before he went down with injury and never regained his starting job. So we need to go out here and get someone and not let this Ben Cleveland sign and kind of discourage us from going in the right direction and getting the things that we need to do. Let's not make this the season where we're going to go in and get a pass rush in the corner and a safety the first 3 rounds and then get into the playoffs and have problems on offense once again. Because I've seen this for 7 years now. We keep saying it. 7 years. I've seen the same reoccurring theme over and over again. And I thought that this was going to be the season that Eric DeCosta was going to do something different. And I'm not saying that he is not, because there is still time for him to change some of the things that he is doing. But I see some of these sneaky little signings kind of pave the way for the Ravens to go in another direction. Don't forget, they love to zag when other teams zig. Do not forget that. So hopefully this season, like I said, I'm putting my trust in EDC. It's waning a little bit. Don't get me wrong. This Ben Cleveland signing has me thinking, what does he have in the works? What is he trying to do? Is this a move to divert us from not having to go somewhere else? Because people are going to say we got Andrew Voorhees to come in and he's going to take that spot. And if not, we have Ben Cleveland to back him up. Is that good enough? Do you guys think that this offensive line, that the way it is constructed right now, is good enough for the level of play of a Lamar Jackson? Do you think that this offensive line is good enough for the level of play for a Derrick Henry? And I'm not saying that they are bad. I'm not. But what I'm saying is, why not put the best 5 guys that you can find, line them up to go tete-a-tete against a defense and let Derrick and Lamar do their things instead of plugging and playing people that you don't know what they're going to do. And let's just say, for instance, Cleveland balls out this year. Guess what's going to happen next season? He's going to get paid somewhere else. So why do we keep redoing the same thing over and over? It's a reoccurring thing. We need an offensive line that stays together, gets set together, builds the continuity, and wins together. We don't need to keep having constant moving pieces year in and year out. So hopefully this move and the subsequent moves that are made after it are made for the betterment of the offense. Let's just stop focusing on defense, because it has not gotten us to a title. And I know we love defense around here because that's all we've known, unless you were a Ravens fan in this first 2 years. That's all you've known with this franchise is defense. But defense has not brought us a championship in a very long time. So let's go offense, see where it goes, and hopefully we'll get some more news tomorrow, the rest of this week, and the Ravens are going to be signing some guys that are really going to make an impact to this team. I know I'm going to be waiting.